And once they identify that they're not going to be able to harvest their soul, then they try to harvest their body towards actually bringing harm and hurt into their lives. And if you don't believe me, all you got to do is pick up national news, regardless whether it's Jewish news or other types of international news, and look at all the persecution that the true Christians are suffering over in the Middle East and in other parts of the country, including this one. All you got to do is look at the rise towards how many Christians are being violated on a day-to-day, everyday level. And unless we as a Christian society are willing to say enough is enough, and we're not going to stand for this any longer, especially when it comes to our well-being, especially when it comes to our safety, especially when it comes to our indignant rights that we're supposed to have. The wicked and the demonic is going to keep on until they completely, totally trample the true Christian society down into the ground, to where the true Christian society will no longer have any type of influence. And that's exactly what Lucifer, Satan, and the demons want to do. They want to beat us down to the point that now, instead of the tares growing with the wheat, now the tares is overthrowing the wheat and choking the wheat out to the point that the tares now are dominating society. That's exactly where we are right now. That's the reason why all these preachers have cowed down like a bunch of yellow bellies, and they're not preaching the truth pertaining to sin and pertaining to the rights and the wrongs that the Bible talks about. Once more, it's not my place or anybody else's to judge anybody. The Bible will judge us. God will be the one that judges us. But at the same time, we got to have enough sense to realize what the Bible talks about, that you can tell a tree by the fruit that it bears, towards being a fruit inspector. That's kind of like if somebody knows that I got a swimming pool in behind my house, and they know that it's full of water, and they themselves know that they can't swim. Are they going to try to blame the property owner if they decide one night that they're going to come moseying up through the back of my property and take a dip in my pool, and while they're taking a dip, they drowned? I think that would be classified as being what the Bible talks about, the blind leading the blind, that both shall lead it off into the ditch. It's almost like that movie Dumb and Dumber. You have to be smart enough to look through the entanglement of Satan and Satan's doings of what's going on here. And if you can't see this, then you, sure enough, are one of the blind people. Let's listen to the rest of this, please, and then I'll let you go. See? Exactly. Let go. He just got through hollering. The guy just got through screaming, I'll kill that. He basically called me a bastard. Please listen.
Don't go by his house. You go over here again, and I'm going to charge you with stalking.
Stop. They've got stalking on their minds around here, simply because of that ordeal that happened up in Kentucky with Land Between the Lakes. And they're trying to go at me in the same angle as they did up there in LBL. And even David spoke about this. He said it's almost like a boxing match. He said once they have identified that they have wounded you somewhere, they're going to continue to hit you in those broken ribs, or in that stomach, or in that broken jaw, or in that broken nose. They're going to continue to pounce and pounce and pounce and pounce on that weak area until they finally get you down. And that's exactly what the law enforcement agency in Northwest Tennessee has done to my life.
you hear him say, I'll kill? Did you hear him just say, I'll kill that bastard? Sir, this road ain't good property.
He was over there screaming and hollering out of his mind, knowing that the police was sitting there. Knowing that the deputy was sitting there and him hollering and screaming, I'll kill that bastard. I'll kill that bastard. But yet, no, I've never had any type of dealings with this guy. But you know what? You don't have to. Because the Word of God says, for they hated us for no reason. To let it be known in their law that they hated us for no reason. No reason at all. Did Lucifer do what he done towards challenging the kingdom of God, towards creating a mutiny up in heaven whenever a third of the angels fell, that suddenly changed their identity from angels now to demonic spirits that are still ruling up onto this planet that we call Mother Earth.
I haven't had a conversation with the guy now for over 2 years. Over 2 years. You're taking up on me. You're painting nice. I'll be going to the judge Monday. I will. I got a witness. Okay. All right. But whenever it gets to the point that I can't drive down a country road,
or any road.
It's in O'Brien County, Weakley County.
Any road.
Lake County. It don't matter if I got any business down in or not. Maybe I just want to look at something.
Maybe I want to reminisce.
I'm going to the judge.
I hope this guy loses his badge. I hope he loses his job over this. He's an idiot. There goes Jimmy Norton.
To the judge. I don't call the law every time he drives down that road.
Don't go down there.
That guy down there's crazy.
Don't go down there. We'll go down there. If I want to talk to him, I'll go down there and talk to Josh. I'll go down there and drive.
I'm going to the judge.
Well, anyways, the cop drove down there. I've already went to the police station. I've already got the incident report. An investigator come out and talked to me and said, you're right, Dennis. The police officer did not have a right to tell you that you did not have a right to go down that road. This makes now the second or third time with this same cop that we've already hashed over this. This is an old I don't forgot now what they call it, deja vu. This is deja vu all over again, pertaining to law enforcement wanting to justify somebody's actions, knowing good and well that there's nothing there to justify. I've got the video to prove it. Whenever I drove by the guy's house, there was no music playing, the windows was up, there was no lights, there was no type of agitation, and I've got proof that you can hear the first shot, the second shot, the third shot, and I think you can hear the fourth shot, but I'm not for sure. But I did indicate that on the dash cam pertaining to the 4 shots, and then you can hear me making the telephone call, and then I drive around the road, and I'm sitting there in front of Ricky Simmons' house waiting for a deputy, and then here comes Ricky Simmons showing his tail. Once more, Ricky Simmons and Josh Dotson purposely walked out into the limelight, knowing good and well that I document my life on every aspect due to the controversy that has went on in my life since I have come out there to help those people in 2014. You can't help people that don't want help. I understand that. I understand that totally. You got to first recognize that you need help, and then you got to identify the fact that you got to cry out for help. Well, if you hadn't gone over obstacle number 1 or obstacle number 2, you for darn sure ain't going to go over obstacle number 3 towards actually helping these people, because they're almost at the state of being beyond help. So I'm aware of that. But what they're not aware of is that I've got rights too. And whenever they start infringing upon my rights towards me driving an automobile that's legally bonded to be out on the road, having insurance, don't have no bad marks against my driving record. Whenever I'm out there on the road and people are doing this to me, it doesn't matter if I'm going down a country road. It don't matter if I'm going down a city road. That'd be like saying that it would be okay for you to take a brick bat and throw off of a bridge because you've seen so-and-so coming down the road that you didn't like for whatever reason, and you decide to sabotage his automobile. Or maybe you didn't actually want to harm the automobile or harm the individual, but you only wanted to put a fear factor in his life. You only wanted to scare this individual. Now, whatever reason that you wanted to frighten the individual for, that could be from A to Z. But the fact of the matter is, you cannot do that. Once more, I've got rights too. As a driver, on the road, as a tax-paying citizen. That's the part, one of the parts that they don't understand down there. And the other part that they don't understand is that I'm dealing with the same type of scenario as I was with my biological father, towards my biological father being involved with the military and him having a sickness and nobody willing to recognize the sickness and nobody willing to protect the children from the sickness. These wars are affecting people's lives in hundreds and millions of different ways. And it's not just physical scars. It's emotional scars. They're deep. They're ugly. A lot of them are dark. And a lot of them are cruel. That's the part that Northwest Tennessee, as well as this nation, needs to wake up to pertaining to our veterans. I support our veterans 100%. And if they was heroic over in whatever mission that they was involved in, God bless them, and they deserve every high mark that they could possibly get. But whenever they come back here to the United States, they're supposed to be debriefed, and they're supposed to know that they're not to conduct themselves the same way in regular society as they did in military society. Those are two different, completely different worlds. But you explain that to certain people around Hop End or Cydonia, and they'll probably look at you and snigger and laugh. Once more, they don't care. Just so it's not happening to their children, just so it's not happening to them. If it's out of sight, out of mind, and it doesn't necessarily matter if it is out of sight or out of mind, as long as it's not affecting them directly, they could care less. And what they don't realize, that these same people that is doing this, that has become a victim of this type of brutality, by them not reporting it or not trying to do something about it, they become just as guilty as the perpetrator that's involved in the act. It would be the same thing if you or I or anybody else sat outside our window and seen somebody get raped or robbed or a violent act take place, and we was not willing to be as a good Samaritan towards at least making a telephone call and contacting people that could at least address the situation in a proper form. That's what's happened here. That's exactly what's happened here. Throw out the Good Samaritan law whenever it comes to decent people that's willing to do the decent thing. May God have mercy on them is all I got to say. Good luck to all of us in ending of this Golden Jubilee year that we're fixing to walk out of. 20 and 18, coming into 20 and 19. Good luck to all of us. Merry Christmas to our veterans. Merry Christmas to everybody, and everybody have a happy, pleasant, prosperous new year, and hopefully the graces of God will be upon to the Northwest Tennessee area to the point that maybe God will spare us of a mighty, mighty, jarring earthquake that would absolutely devastate Northwest Tennessee as well as Western Tennessee. But if this is the cards that God desires to have to play, simply because of all the wickedness and all the sin, all the brutality, he said that he would throw them off into a sickbed over in the first 4 chapters of Revelations, and that's exactly where we are right now, my friend. We are off into a sickbed. These people are sick, and they need God, and they need God bad. Thanks for listening. Shalom. See ya. Good luck to all of us.